All right, thanks for staying with us. No, addiction is just a way of trying to get at something else, something bigger. Call it transcendence if you want, but it's a rat in a maze. We all want the same thing. We all have this hole. The thing you want offers relief, but it's a trap. This was a quote from Tess Callahan. Now, in the last few days, much attention has been paid to the grassroots effort of institutions charged with changing the trends of drug addiction, trafficking, and transforming the mindset of Nigerians towards drug in the country. That is the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Now, according to The Guardian, the government agency spent quality time and resources beneficially to mark the United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking recently. Drug abuse goes to the root of the heightened state of insecurity and terrorism that afflicts a large chunk of geographical space of Nigeria, and trafficking this menace from its root is the best way going forward in this battle against drug in Nigeria. Now, experts say that drug addiction, also known as substance use disorder, can be defined as a progressive disease that causes people to lose control of the use of some substance despite the worsening consequences of that use. Substance use disorder can be life-threatening. Now, treating addiction often requires lifelong care and therapy. I want to discuss how we can win this war against drug abuse and the role we as citizens can play in this. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WadeShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WadeShow. All right, so ladies, quickly, your thoughts. Do you think it's possible for us to win this war against drug abuse and use in Nigeria?
I don't think it's possible in Nigeria, nor even the world, because I've seen many movies about how allegedly the U.S. government encourages, drug importation in exchange for ammunition in fighting wars that, work with their own causes and everything. The funny thing is that these things come from nature, and in certain places, for instance, in Los Angeles now, where they've made hemp, which is marijuana, legal. Gradually, other places will fight for the same thing. So it depends on what you want to consider as drugs per se. Some would think it's the hard drug. Some would say hemp is not part of it. But anything that enhances you, I think is drugs.
It's impossible to
totally get rid of it. Totally.
Let me hear your thoughts, Elsie.
I like that we have someone who is working with NDLEA, rather, that would have this conversation because like she said, when you talk about marijuana, for example, which is just one of the many that people take, right? There is the medicinal purpose and then there's the recreational purpose. Some of the states she's mentioned are accepting it for medicinal purpose. Others have gone further to also accept it to a degree, right, for recreational purpose. But it doesn't end at that. There is a lot more that these people are taking. There are names that you will hear. I hear some things like, maybe I should not call the name, but it's okay.
Call the name.
So, yes, I'm looking forward to learning from this conversation and to also understand how the NDLEA team are working in accordance with the law as well, because we've also seen some things that are just not sitting right, So,
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Let me bring in our guest now. Femi Babafemi is currently the Director of Media and Advocacy at the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, that's the NDLEA. He has worked as the head of media and publicity at the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, making him the first Nigerian to serve as spokesperson for two different law enforcement agencies at different times. He is an author of 2 books and member of the US-based Investigative Reporters and Editors, that's IRE. He holds a master's degree in public and international affairs from the University of Lagos and a bachelor's of art in English language from Obafemi Awolowo University, OAU, that's Ile-Ife, amongst others. Now, he's joined us live in studio. Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me start from Laide, Ersin, and Uwa. It's my pleasure being in your midst this evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to say big congratulations. I mean, it's, Nigeria is almost like, Nigerians were so quick to fight government because we just believe nothing is working. But I can categorically say that NDLEA is one of the agencies that we're proud of on this table, because we see the work every day. We're taking stories. I mean, just on Monday here, we took a story of the interception of at the Lagos seaport, where they intercepted about 2.7 million worth of tramadol, and what 1.3 billion naira. So I mean, every day you hear stories that NDLEA is working. There's a lot of interception here, arrest here, and all of that. And recently, congratulations again at the VGC Meth laboratory. So it's one agency that we are actually proud of. We see that, okay, yes, work is ongoing. But tell us first of all, how possible is it for us to eradicate? Is it possible for us to really fight this war against drug use? Because drug is not something that is easy to fight. There's money in this business, right? So is it possible for us, first of all, to just set that precedence? Is it possible for us to win this war? Then we can then ask other questions.
Yeah, I would definitely answer on an optimistic tone, which is slightly disagreeing from Laide. Yeah, globally it's a major challenge. That is the problem of drug. But then you can never say it can't be won. Definitely. If all the things we need to do, we do them. Especially, and I like the topic for discussion, especially that involves the citizens. Yeah. And this was exactly what the leadership of the agency had in mind last year when our advocacy platform or initiative, War Against Drug Abuse, WADA, was initiated and launched by President Muhammadu Buhari precisely on June 26th last year. The whole essence of this is to mobilize the citizens, everybody, to buy into it and take ownership of it. Now, what that means is we don't have to see this war as that of the NDLEA, as that of General Marwa, as that of President Muhammadu Buhari, or an agency of government, even the entire government. But then we see it as ours and drive it. Why? Because we are the ultimate beneficiaries on the one hand, and if we do nothing about it, on the other hand, we are the victims. Let me break this down. You may say today you don't have anybody abusing drugs or depending on drugs in your family, but then it's almost not impossible that you won't know somebody or a family that has somebody struggling with drug addiction or dependence. Now, again, look at it this way. You are not having issues with the problem of drug, but you go on the highways, you live in a community where you have people who depend on drugs, who abuse drugs, and the effect of those drugs could make them to do certain things that would directly or indirectly impact on your own life. Take you traveling on the road, you have a man that is already high on tramadol or cannabis or some other substances, even the ones we call new psychoactive substances, the ones that have not been captured in the law and our law books, that is squishes. They have different names across the country, a mixture of some mixtures. Now they take all of this and go on the highways. You are driving, you can be very careful, but you can't determine how careful the other man is because he's high on something, his mind, his humanity, all of that has been altered by these drugs. Now you could be a victim of whatever misdeeds or whatever he does on the highway. Now again, for a man who also takes drugs in your community, when he loses his senses, he's also susceptible to doing certain things, which includes robbery, violence, and what have you. We're not generalizing that everybody that abuses drugs is a criminal. Yes. Yeah. But then there are those tendencies. Okay, what if the man in your community who is on drugs decide to do something criminal, something that will affect you or any member of your family? So this is why we think all of us collectively
must win this war,
must come together and decide. Look at, let me give you an instance. That instance is typical example of the spirit of WADA. What happened in the southeast in the last quarter of last year when there was a major outbreak of Upurumiri, which is the crystal methamphetamine. You saw how the communities rose up and resisted it, even to the point of dragging some of them, flogging them in the market square. Even though we are not, as an agency, as a law enforcement agency, we will not support violence, we will not support that method, crude method. But then the spirit behind it, that these people were able to realize, okay, if we don't rise up and to resist this, we may end up being victims. Because for somebody who is already on drugs, he has lost his senses.
Absolutely.
They can just do anything, and they don't have to wait until they become victims. We don't have to wait till the thing hits us individually before we come together. And we're happy that quite a number of stakeholders, including the media, what we're doing here, what Waze is doing on this platform, is part of those contributions that we all need to do or engage in, so that ultimately we'll raise the level of awareness. You know, this is your own area of influence. You are using the platform to impact positively, to share facts, to share information and knowledge, so that people can benefit, and you never can tell the number of people that will listen to this or watch this, and they will have a change of mind.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I like that you started off being optimistic that this war can be won. But I would like you to let us know, I mean, you have more information than we do. How deep is this menace at the moment in Nigeria? Like how bad is it?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's deep and it's bad. Yes, I'm optimistic, but then I have to lay it bare, be realistic.
Yes.
Now, how do I know? When you go back to the official statistics that we have in Nigeria today, even though it's 4 years old now, that is the result of the 2018 National Drug Survey conducted by the National Bureau of Statistics and supported by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC. The result of that survey shows that precisely 14.3 million Nigerians abuse drugs, which, if you put in context, translates to 14.4% prevalence rate, which is almost 3 times the global average. The global average is 5.6. Now, if you put 14.4
in Nigeria
alone, that was. Let's also note that that survey captured only those within the age bracket of 15 and 64, meaning that those above 64 were not captured. Those below 15 were not. And today, from our operations, we've seen that even pupils 9, 8, 10 years old and what have you, they've got
and that's scary. And again, because even after COVID, pre-COVID, the numbers were 14.3.
Yeah.
You know, after COVID, a lot of people fell into depression. More people started becoming a lot more dependent on drugs.
Now you understand what we're saying. So what it means is, today, that was 4 years ago. Today, there is a possibility that the figures could have risen. But then the good thing is, okay, let me come to, again, some of the realities again on ground from our own, that's survey, National Drug Survey. Now, from our own operations, between 2021, January 2021 and May this year, that's about 16 or 17 months, we mopped up more than 3.5 million kilograms of assorted illicit drugs.
Wow.
That is huge.
Massive.
Massive. That also shows you the volume of drugs in circulation. And we're still seizing more, intercepting more. Sometimes, as I sit here with you, reports are coming on seizures. If you see my phone beeping, the reports are coming on seizures. But then, what we're doing is, as much as possible, to cut access to these drugs and make them unavailable. At least in the market.
Because it's tougher to to get it when it's already flooded the market.
Yeah, that's why in your conversation off air, you were saying something about some people who, those are, when you have a flood, the flood spreads out there. But then, yes, we could go out and mop up those ones, which we're doing. Just all those little 1 gram, 2 grams, 3, yes, all those, they are just not as, but then we go down, we trace them down to the source and pluck it there. That way you make more impact than even mopping up all those small ones. And that was exactly what we did with the meth laboratories we discommissioned and dismantled in Lagos and Anambra this last weekend. Because those are major channels, production pipes through which these things go out there. Imagine the man in VGC here was producing an average of 50 kilograms a week, about to increase that to 100 kilograms a week. Do you know what that would do in the lives of our people?
Yes.
That is huge.
And he says, he was telling me of that 1 kilogram of meth, it's about $500,000.
Yeah, at the point
so this guy was doing
1 kilogram is about $500,000
in international market. So just imagine. So that's why you see them, the level of desperation. They don't mind, like in the case of this particular suspect, we've been on him, tracking him, trailing him. I'm sure they were shocked how we're able to penetrate the estate, but then that's for us. Now, when from our investigations and our intelligence gathering, we discover that when the cook or the chemist that he hired comes around to produce or cook for him, that's the meth, the chemicals, this man with his wife, kids, and other members of his family at home, he will leave them in there. Go to an hotel in Lekki, even come out of VGC, come to an hotel in Lekki to lodge, meaning that he understands very well that these chemicals are poisonous, and he is trying to avoid...
For just himself?
Yes, just to avoid dying. But he wouldn't mind losing other members of his family.
That's sad. You know what, let's take a break. When we come back from the break, when we come back, Lydia, I'll hear your thoughts. Stay with us, we'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we are discussing the NDLEA war against drug abuse, and we're asking what's the citizen's role. And we have with us Femi Babafemi. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. Lydia, you had a question. Yeah,
I wanted to ask, you know how we have the raw materials that people actually develop into hard drugs, flowers in Asia and, you know, seeds like that. What do we have any of those items that grow in Nigeria that people are actually, you know, harvesting to make it? Because I'm not sure, I don't know what it takes to make meth. Are any of the ingredients grown in Nigeria, or it came from importation in the first place?
Raw materials.
Yeah, let me specifically speak to that of meth. The major chemical used to produce that, even though ideally we're not supposed to be, but then I'll just mention one, which is ephedrine. These are imported. Actually imported under the approval of regulatory agencies to produce for the production of pharmaceutical drugs. But then you see, criminal elements would always have a way of diverting this thing to the black market. If you see kegs and bags of those things that were recovered from VGC, some of those precursor, we call them precursor chemicals. Now, that is how they're able to assess those chemicals to produce this illicit substance.
Someone like NAFDAC would have approved the importation.
Yes,
they now diverted it.
Yes, NAFDAC would definitely approve and even try to track, okay, what did you use this volume of it, and try to track that down. But then we are human beings.
We always find a way to bypass the system. So two things. we're talking about the citizen's role.
Yeah.
So there was an estate,
Yes.
right? Is it possible, how do we start to get NDLEA work with security operatives within the estate? Because I know that with my estate, for instance, whether you are a resident or you're not a resident, your boot is checked, everything is checked. So for them to be able to carry this volume of chemicals into an estate and no questions are raised, they are not, the residential estate.
Yeah.
It's not even a commercial estate. So is NDLEA now really looking into, because now, you see, outside of even NDLEA, there's the EFCC crime and internet fraudsters. Most of them are moving into estates because it is difficult. And I like that you didn't give us how you guys got into a BGC. But that is the structure. Yes. Most people that are into crimes right now are moving into residential estates because they know that there's some level of security
and exclusivity
that will make it hard for enforcers to go into the estates. So they move in there. So how is NDLEA working hand in hand with estate security operatives? Because if we have those what's it called, line of communication, and we are saying that I'm noticing every 2 weeks somebody is bringing in this particular whatever, just even screen grab and send, so how do we start to get more estates? Because we cannot say that for sure this is the only place that meth is being produced. I'm sure many more estates have laboratories that we're not even aware of.
Let's start by saying that, one, these people prefer these exclusive estates to stay away from the prying eyes of security agents. Yeah. So they deliberately choose this type of exclusive estates. And in the case of the Anambra meth lab, the fellow shows a remote community far away from the civilized, so to say, from the metropolis, where people can always see what is happening. And if you see, you will see that where that thing was being done in that of Anambra, like an uncompleted, something you would never suspect anything like that was going on there. Yeah. Now, for us, like I said, that points to the importance and the role of the citizens, the people themselves, because that's why we're saying this war is not about the NDLEA, it's not about Marwa, it's not about Femi Babafemi or President Buhari, or about the entire government itself. It's about you and I. I started by saying that whatever we do or whatever we fail to do, they both have a way of affecting us, whether directly or indirectly. So it is expected of our citizens, like we used to say, if you see something, say something. If you see it, and we're happy that quite a number of our people are responding. That is why we have to go all out to give them a helpline, a call center. Forget about whether you have credit or no. Toll-free line that you can call us, give us information. Beyond that, even my own personal social media handles, you see people coming in, providing information, and we'll send this to our pool where they are processed and people follow up. And I'm happy that a lot of them give me feedback that, oh, we're glad you people have responded, this has been done, that has been done. Again, the official handles of the NDLEA itself, we have all of these things coming in there. So we have different, but beyond even all of this, we also have, there is also the use of technology. And again, you see, this business is a chain. You have the big baron there, you have the dealers, the traffickers, the chain down.
There's a pharmaceutical license that gave this man those chemicals. Are we tracing it back to that pharmaceutical lab?
No. He may not actually have a pharmaceutical license. Really? He could have bought from the black market. Just like you buy anything from the black market, he could have bought from the black market. And like I think there was something you were saying about a lot of them, they will befriend, because they know what they're doing. They will befriend the security, because I know some of these estates, for you to enter, they check your boot, like you said, to know what you are bringing in and what you are taking out. And for even a stranger to come in, you need to call
Yes.
To get and codes change every time for access.
Especially
So
for
all of
police.
this. So for us, I think even me, even as an officer of the NDLEA, I was impressed with the level of professionalism. This thing I tell you is not what we can see. It's not even I can share with you personally, one-on-one. But you see, a lot of work for us to be able to penetrate that place. It's
VGC.
It's a lot.
Because I found it very impressive because, you know, VGC, like you said, the code changes almost every hour. It's not even a code a day. And with the kind of people that live there, and it being residential, like you said, to be able to bring in the quantity that they brought in.
Yeah,
and because when you said, for instance, that you'd been training them since 2017, someone would say, why would it take you almost 5 years to capture them? But at the end of the day, it's so sensitive that if you do not get your facts right, and you go and, you know, accost them at the wrong time, then you lose that access. They move it to somewhere else, and they continue. But then again, another thing I wanted to talk about is the outreach to schools. Because a lot of the youngsters are being introduced to drugs, and it happens even during school hours, where they go for break and things are being, you know, tested. They might look like pills, you know, the likes of the ecstasies. I don't even know what
the brownies, all of them.
The Indian hemp-induced brownies and everything that are being introduced to children. How do we, I mean, we can only try, but how do we educate more and more as to the damage to the brain and the senses and the nerves and the long-term usage of it? Because unfortunately, if you have an addictive nature, you're going to go through whatever it takes to get these drugs. The trick is not to even taste it.
Try it at all.
At all, yes.
Absolutely, I agree with you. You see, it's something, that is why we're saying that it's something that involves all of us. Look at, okay, let's agree. I know we're more than 200 million now. Let's say we have about 15 million that are already abusing drugs. What about the 185 million others? And that's why we're pushing hard on our drug demand reduction activities. That's why we're introducing drug integrity tests. That's why we're advocating for people, either students, to take the test before they go into school. Upon return to school, that's from holiday, to take the test. And for those who even prospective couples to take the test. For political office seekers to take the test, when everybody knows that, yes, no, when we say that, people think, oh, we are targeting presidential candidates. No, it's not about presidential candidates alone, down to the grassroots, to the councillors.
It's because we've heard some of them use it, and we wonder if nobody notices.
Please come and test us.
Well, I'm sure I'll be glad.
You've heard about it, that a lot of politicians abuse drugs.
Well, we know, that's why we're pushing for all of that. That will serve some form of deterrence when they know that, okay, if I take this and before I become who I want to be, I'll have to test it. And if I I test positive, this may deny me the opportunity that I've desired for all my life. You would hold back.
Well, how far do you think that test is going to go? Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but for those who take the easiest one now, weed, right? They know it stays in their body for a certain period of time. So even when they are getting, I've heard someone get a job opportunity, right? And they are saying you have to go for this test. All they needed to do was, for the next 3 days now, or 1 week, I don't have to take this thing. And once they get their results, they are back, they're back at it. So how would you address that? Well, before that, I actually need you to please call out the toll-free line so we won't forget for people who want to reach out to you guys.
Okay, the toll-free line is 0800 1020 3040. 0800 1020 30 40. Very easy, straight line. That is that. Now, I'll start by addressing what Laide was saying ab initio about the schools. Now, we involving a lot of stakeholders, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, as well as our non-governmental organizations, to get involved in this so that we can all, and especially our international partner, UNODC, is doing a lot in this regard and we're encouraging the state government to also buy into this. That's why we organized a 2-day training for the wives of governors in Abuja some weeks ago to get them on board so that they can cascade all of this down in their, you know, they are powerful people in their states and down to the communities. So that's our target, to make sure that this information, this advocacy gets down to our primary schools across board, so that everybody, virtually everybody, would now know the dangers inherent in abuse of these drugs. Homes, families, everybody will be aware of this, and everybody will wake up to their responsibilities, starting from the homes. Now, coming to you, Elsie, you spoke about
the test, how effective that
absolutely. This has really gone well, has been well accepted. We've moved around with the religious leaders, especially the Islamic, the Council of Ulamas, the Christian Association of Nigeria, PFN, all across. We've moved around all of these organizations, and because these are the people that actually conduct weddings, and it's been very widely accepted. Again, our traditional institutions also well accepted by them, and fortunately, again, for us, we've also been having schools that have even that have taken it far, even steps ahead. But then we're encouraging them, no rustication. Don't rusticate these people. Yet, when they test positive, refer them for rehabilitation. And upon completion of their rehabilitation, let them come back, because if you rusticate them, you are going to make their lives more miserable and
have a need to depend
so,
on.
So
I want to ask about the
of
penalty.
I was going to ask about the rehabilitation centers you mentioned. How many do we have? I mean, if, like you said, it's a huge problem at the moment. We're looking at 15 million. I mean, it's an estimate, but it's very close, right? What is the state of our rehabilitation centers, and how many do we even have that are functional?
Now, let me give you from our statistics of arrests. In the last 18 months, thereabout, we've had about 17 months ago, we've had over 17,600 arrests. Now, out of this, more than half of that have been taken, because we try to let people know it's not everybody that will arrest that will send to jail. We know some of them need help. I will try as much as possible to provide them help. And that's the whole essence of that call center, to get help to as many people that need this help. Now, out of those figures, we have cancelled and rehabilitated over 11,000. Because we know that quite a lot of factors are responsible for this, and so we don't just arrest people, throw them to jail. No, we profile you and determine, okay, does this person need to be prosecuted, or does this person actually need help? And for those that need help, we take them into our facilities or other facilities available. Like, coming to your question, at the moment, there are no sufficient facilities in the country. I'll tell you, I'll be factual with you on that. But then again, we're glad that the government is responding to this, but it's not what government alone can do. That's why you would have seen the chairman of the NDLEA, General, also moving to the private sector, leaders of the private sector, NGOs, to encourage them to also invest in this as part of their corporate social responsibility. And we're having some private individuals, NGOs, and even community-based organizations, faith-based organizations. Also said, I know, for instance, like the Redeemed Church is promoting CADAM, Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministry. They have rehab in Ekpe, they have in Abeokuta, somewhere there. So all of these we're promoting, I mean, encouraging as many people as can. Again, fortunately for us, we're also trying to have model rehab centers across the country, which the federal government had approved. And we're supposed to start with about 3 this year. That's 6, that's 1 per each geopolitical zone. So that when we provide these facilities for people, they can always go in. And for those that are afraid or scared of stigmatization, that's the essence of the call center, so that they can sit back in the comfort of their homes, call this line, and language friendly, whether it's English, Pidgin, Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, they can speak. Somebody will attend to them in that language, and I mean those languages. And its geopolitical location is not a barrier. You can come from any part of the country. You'll be attended to by counselors, psychologists, psychotherapists, and even psychiatric consultants.
So I was just going to ask about penalty, right? I like the fact that we are not penalizing maybe the users of the drugs. We're trying to find
Not
help
everybody
for them.
falls
Even
under
though
the
it's a
same.
crime.
Even
in
though it's
Nigeria.
a crime, I understand. There's a level before you know whether to what level of penalty. But for the people like this man now that you have caught, Mr. What's his name?
Emeka Chris.
Yes. Nziwe. What's the minimum sentence that Nigerians should be expecting from him?
Well, you know, ours is to arrest, investigate, and charge to court.
Okay.
But then the law says, in his own case, he risks 25 years or even life imprisonment
Awesome.
because of the seriousness of what is involved.
So quickly touch on, sorry, because I saw a video on Instagram how people are collecting things, you want to travel and all of that.
Yes.
Yes, can you quickly touch on that, right? Are you allowed to say that I did not know what was put inside my bag? When,
Unfortunately, it's not an excuse because I could as well have conspired to put those things in my bag, in my luggage, and when I come before NDLEA, I say, I don't know who put it there.
Yeah.
That, of course, that's not an excuse. But then we also try to, for those that claim innocence, we dig deep. We make sure whether you say ABC put it or blah, blah, blah. There are cases where we've seen people that actually planted those things in the bag, and we get them. The moment we get them, the person we arrested, would let go because he or her innocence would have been established. But then we also, from what we've seen recently, we also encourage our people. It said that you don't take any bag from anybody, and if you have to take, tear it to pieces.
It's hard to know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said, for you, if you want to be on the safe side,
Mr. Babafemi, do you remember the person that took pieces of meat abroad and they cut the pieces of meat and found drugs in it?
That's what
I understand. So
the decisional ways, just imagine somebody so heartless and so evil to the point of, Virgin Mary status. Hiding drugs. I mean, how low can somebody go that you go and hide? And even within locally, you see, we've made arrests with people, the tire of the vehicle they are traveling with. They remove the tire, put drug inside, now pump it back, then fix it back. So please, it will take you a lot of ingenuity to be able to discover or know that there is drug inside the tire. I mean, of a moving vehicle.
Wow.
So that's how.
So bottom line, don't just collect anything.
Please don't collect. We encourage people, please don't collect. If you have to collect at all, make sure that you tear everything into pieces. And if it's possible, sign an undertaking. But then abstinence, they say
it's just the best. Because there are some places if they catch you, you not even have the luxury to explain. You'll be on.
Yeah.
Let's take comments quickly, ladies.
So the comments I have, he's responded to it already. The toll-free line is being displayed on the screen. Just to mention it again, 0800 10 20 30 40. Yeah,
that's the number. Then your comment quickly first.
I like the fact that you say that nowadays you separate those that have intent to sell or something to be punished and those that have the need for rehabilitation. Because in that instance, parents, for instance, can then get help for their children or their wards by saying, okay, at least I know it's not going to prison. A child is badly affected by drugs.
They will not hide at home.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, let's take your comment, lady.
Oh, Daniel again. Good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #ways NDLEA, the war against drug abuse and citizens' role. Your guest made mention of creating awareness concerning the usage of the drugs. Sister Lyde's contribution made a lot of sense. She made mention of spreading information in schools and letting students know the damage that drugs will cause to the entire body as regards the usage of it. My dear beautiful sister Uwa said that she is proud of what NDLEA is doing concerning drug abuse, and I can truly testify to that. They have done a very good job so far. In a nutshell, we need to educate people to say no to drugs. Drugs kill and dangerous to health. My name is Daniel. This is one of our greatest fans, so he always writes an essay when he sends a comment.
So quickly, if you had one thing to say to the citizens, what would you say?
I would say that illicit drugs are dangerous to their bodies, to their families, to the society, their community, and the country at large. Now, don't say, okay, let me just taste, I'll stop. You can only know when you start. Don't know when you come out of it. It's not a walk in the park. So we'll rather say, please avoid
Absolutely.
absolute.
Absolutely. And we're going to be partnering with NDLEA because part of what we're doing here is to continue to advocate for better living, better Nigeria, and better everything. So we are happy to be part of you guys. All right,
Thank you very much.
Before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. All right, so if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Drugs are a waste of time. They destroy your memory, your self-respect, and everything that goes along with your self-esteem. I mean, somebody is sending that we should talk about driving factors to drug users. Don't worry, we're going to be talking more about all of this as the time goes by. We'll see you guys live at 8 p.m. tomorrow as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Thank you. Good night.